I welcome in Powers on Sports podcast. We are 1 week away from Memorial Day weekend. School's going to be out for a lot of people here in the next week or so. A lot of the seniors are already out. So, congratulations to our senior class of 2024 all around the state of Florida, around the country. I know it's an exciting time for our graduates, high schools, whether you're moving on to college, moving on to the work world, maybe the military and everything in between. So, congrats to our upcoming high school graduates here. Got a good podcast for you this week. Got a lot of news, some breaking news Friday morning. Got some golf news, got some NFL scheduling, got the debut of Caitlyn Clark, NBA playoff, game seven's coming up, hockey, all kind of great stuff. The Preakness on Saturday. We're even going to have a little chat with uh, from the Florida High School Flag Football Championships that were just held here in Tampa last weekend at the Advent Health Training Center, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to talk to the Senior Director of Community Impact for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers about the Bucs and their involvement in the development and escalation of women's flag football here in the state of Florida and around the country. That is a booming sport at the high school level. And the state championships were just held here in Tampa last weekend. So we're going to talk to a member of the Buccaneer organization about that and the Buccaneers' commitment and involvement with girls flag football nationwide in the state of Florida. So, all right, lots to talk about here on the podcast. Breaking news on Friday from the PGA Championship. First off, following the record-setting 62 by Xander Schauffele on Thursday, Scotty Scheffler arrested Friday morning, early Friday morning, at the right outside of the gates of the Valhalla in Louisville. Apparently, there was an incident. There was a fatality after a early morning traffic accident right across the street, apparently from Valhalla, in which diffused all the traffic and delayed and all that stuff. And apparently, Scotty Scheffler was not being very cooperative with the police. And again, we don't know all the details quite yet. He's on the course playing right now in round two of the PGA Championship. But Scotty Scheffler arrested on 3 misdemeanors and 1 felony assault charge on a police officer. We don't know what that has fully entails yet. There's been some varying reports of there was a dispute about Scheffler not being allowed into the compound with his player credentials in his car and all that stuff. And maybe did an officer get on the top of the car trying to stop him, and Scheffler drove with the cop on the car. We don't know all the details yet, but Scheffler was arrested early morning, was released, and then went to the golf course and made it in time with about an hour to spare. A couple things I would say to that is sometimes not just golfers, athletes in general feel like they're entitled and they don't have to kind of abide by the rules of the road and things like that when it comes to whatever all the other fans and the normal Joes have to abide by. If a cop tells you to stop, stop. If a cop tells you to hang around for a few minutes, hang around and wait. It ain't going to kill Scotty Scheffler and anybody else to sit in their car for 5 or 10 minutes if you have to. Um, he wasn't in any danger of being late for his tee time at 6 o'clock in the morning. I get it. Golfers and athletes want to stay on their routine, but sometimes athletes and entertainers and people that are perceived to be high earners and all that, stars and all that, sometimes they think the rules don't apply to them. I would say this: sit in the car. If you got to sit there for 5 minutes, do that. Call your agent. If you need to call their agent, figure out, hey, what's going on at the golf course? Why can't I get in? If you need to call your caddy, do that. But don't be disrespectful. Don't be trying to make your own rules. Don't be trying to cut across the median to get in a minute earlier than it's not going to kill you, Scotty Scheffler, if you're 5 minutes later than you would have been. It's not going to kill your warm up routine if you miss 5 minutes of it. Don't put yourself in that spot to have to put yourself in a position for the police to have to say, you know what, I got to arrest you because you're not being very obedient, you're not being very cooperative, things like that. That's just in all facets of life. If more people would do that, I think there'd be a lot less problems. There'd be a lot less things on the road when you're in traffic. Don't If you have to sit in traffic for a couple minutes, it's okay. If you have to stay in that right lane because it's not moving for another minute or two, it's okay. Don't jam. Don't jerk the car into the next lane, causes an accident. You wonder why our insurance rates are what they are for car insurance? It's because stupidity on the road and lack of patience. Another couple of minutes isn't going to kill anybody getting to where they got to go, things like that. So be a little more cooperative, Scotty. Again, I don't know all the details. I'm sure that will come out. I'm sure you saw the video from Jeff Darlington from ESPN, who had the video of him actually of Scheffler actually getting put in handcuffs and walked off. So we'll see what all the we'll hear post round from Scotty what's going on, but not a great look for Scotty Scheffler going into Friday. Hopefully, it was just a misunderstanding and Scotty maybe being a little impatient, but we shall see. But on to the course, Scheffler is in the mix at 4 or 5 under. Schauffele with a 62 on Thursday. You got McIlroy in the mix. Obviously, with the news, McIlroy came out early in the week that he's getting divorced, coming off the win in Quail Hollow, kind of an out of the blue filing of divorce. So we'll see how that affects Rory this weekend and moving forward. Remember, Rory hasn't won a major since Valhalla 10 years ago, where he won the PGA. Jordan Spieth has a chance to win the Grand Slam. He had a decent opening round. Tiger Woods shot a one over par, so he won't be in the mix to win, but good to see Tiger back out there. But again, PGA will be should be a good tournament. Probably will get to there's a little bit of criticism about the course and a lot of bad weather today. Probably going to be probably the winning score will probably be 20 to 22 under, I would guess, something like that. But we shall see. But major number 2 underway in Louisville following the Kentucky Derby last weekend or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, in Louisville as well. So a big couple of weeks for the Louisville sports community. Speaking of the horse racing, the Preakness is Saturday in Baltimore at Pimlico. Mystic Dan will race, so he's going for the second leg of the Triple Crown. So that's good to see. Bob Baffert's horses are back in the mix now. The betting favorite Muth, the one of Baffert's horses withdrew earlier in the week due to a fever issue, I think. So we'll see if Mystic Dan can back up the Kentucky Derby win with the Preakness. I think there's only 8 or 9 horses in this field, so a much smaller field than the Derby. So it would be cool to see if Mystic Dan can win the first 2 legs, then take it to the third leg. Remember, the Belmont Stakes is not going to be at Belmont Park. It's going to be at Saratoga this year. They're doing some renovations at Belmont, so it will be at Saratoga. The race will not be 1.5 miles either. It'll be shorter than that. So a little bit of difference of a race there. But hopefully, we will have a Triple Crown opportunity coming out of the Preakness here with Mystic Dan this weekend. All right, NFL schedule release earlier in the week on Wednesday. Everybody now knows what days they're playing, who they're playing, prime time games, cold weather games, when your bye week is, all that good stuff. Lots of. I think I saw 9 playoff rematches. You got Baltimore, Kansas City leading off. You got Philadelphia and Green Bay playing in Brazil. You got all sorts of Thursday night games. You got Christmas Day games. You got Amazon games. You got 2 games on Netflix. Every channel known to man, the NFL is selling games to, except for Nickelodeon. So there will be games on every day of the week except for Tuesday. I think Kansas City plays on every day of the week except Tuesday. So interesting there. My Bucs got a pretty good schedule. Got a tough schedule. Got a good home schedule. So now everybody knows when your team is going to play, what times, and everybody can make their predictions of what they think their team's going to do. Chicago Bears, you got rookie quarterbacks, you got Kirk Cousins going back to Minnesota, you got Aaron Rodgers starting off the year in San Francisco on Monday night, back to where he grew up, back on the West Coast. So lots of different storylines, ton of huge matchups. The only team that did not get a primetime game was Carolina, and I knew the NFL used to have a rule where every team at least at once would be on primetime, whether it was Thursday night or at least on Thursday night. No longer the case, apparently. There are 6 teams in the league that do not have to have a short turnaround from a Sunday to a Thursday, which I don't think I don't love that either. I think everybody should have to deal with at least one short turnaround throughout the year. Jacksonville's playing 2 games overseas in a row. Maybe that's the reason why they don't have the short turnaround, because they're playing back-to-back games over in London. So we'll see over in England. So we'll see how that goes. They have been a regular participant as well as the Buccaneers in playing overseas, and they will do that again with another 2 week stint overseas. One home game, one away game. Jacksonville only has seven in Jacksonville home games this year, so uh, we'll see how that goes. But yes, everybody now knows where your team, your favorite team, is playing, what time. We got the debut of Tom Brady, Dallas, Cleveland, week one for Fox. So we'll see how that goes, which I think that'll go better than people think. Now Tom Brady with with some buyer's remorse about the Tom Brady roast because of the kids. I'm sure the kids have seen that. I'm sure Giselle not happy either post roast with all the jabs about Giselle. So uh, but there were some funny moments. I got to admit, I watched about an hour and a half of it, most of it. So there were some funny moments, and Tom took it in the keister there a couple times. Gronk got made fun of a ton, and lots of good stuff. Belichick, Bob Kraft, and all the rest. So, all right, there's your NFL news and notes. Caitlin Clark makes her debut in the WNBA this week. She had her first home game Thursday night. She started off Tuesday night. I think about 2 million or so viewers watched the game on ESPN2. So that's a pretty good rating for them. I think that was the highest rated regular season game ever. So Caitlin with 10 turnovers. She did score 20 points in her debut. Had a bunch of turnovers. She will get better as the season moves. If you expected her to come in and be flawless from the get-go, you're probably sorely mistaken, and your expectations are probably a little high. She will be better and better as she gets acclimated to the adjustment of athleticism by every player, every team, and all that stuff. She'll do just fine. Will she be a mega star in year one? Probably not, but she will be she'll turn into a really good player for the Fever, and that'll be a good boost for the WNBA. Tons of her games will be on TV, so you'll get plenty of opportunity. Remember, she has barely had a month off from the end of her college season. She's already played 35 or 40 college games. She went all the way to the national championship, if you remember. The draft was like 2 weeks later after the national championship game, and training camp started like a week after that. So she's had very little time to rest and recover and recharge. So this of all years, this is probably going to be the year she would struggle because she's probably going to get worn down here as we move through the WNBA season physically. Hopefully, she doesn't get injured, but and with all the expectations and all the pressure that's on her shoulders a little bit from all the media, from all the sponsors, and all that stuff. Don't expect Caitlin Clark to be a mega superstar on the court this year. She'll do just fine. She'll have her moments where she plays great, and then she'll have her moments when she doesn't play as well. Give her a little break, give her a little time. She'll be a really good player in the league and all that stuff. So, um, game seven has been determined. We are going to have a game seven, Minnesota Denver. Denver lost game six after a convincing game five win. Minnesota with a huge game six win. Sunday, Denver be a nice game seven. Jokic versus Anthony Edwards. You got Knicks Pacers game six on Friday night. I think you'll see a game seven on Sunday in New York as well with the Knicks in the Garden. Boston's already advanced. You got Dallas and Oklahoma City will play game six on Saturday, in Dallas. Dallas up 3-2 with a big win in Oklahoma City in game five. I think Dallas will close out Oklahoma City on Saturday in game six in Dallas. But you got the Celtics waiting for the winner. I think the Celtics will be an overwhelming favorite in the conference finals. I think the West is wide open. I think any of the four teams in the West you could make an argument that they could win. I think Denver will be a favorite on Sunday to win. I think Denver will beat Minnesota on Sunday. I think you're going to have Denver and Dallas in the conference final. And I think that'll be a very good series because Dallas has big guys to contend with Jokic. Dallas has the guards. Again, Denver got the break of all breaks with Murray not getting suspended in that for Game 3 in that Minnesota series. That series would have been over if he's suspended, I think. But they are in a Game 7. Denver on Sunday. I like Denver and I like Dallas to make the Western Conference Finals. And I think New York will find a way barely to get out of the Indiana series. It'll be Boston, New York in the Eastern Conference Final. I think Boston will win that series comfortably in 5 or 6 games to go to the NBA final. All right. Other news out of the NBA. Apparently, it looks like the NBA is going away from Turner and going to be heading back to NBC. what that makes of the Inside the NBA show with Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Shaq, we don't know yet. But from most of the media reports I've seen, it looks like the NBA is going back to NBC. Turner Sports is now going to be out of the NBA world. So that's a big blow for Turner if those reports are accurate. Ernie Johnson has made it clear he's going to stay with TNT and TBS Turner Sports. So what will be the end result of that show? Will NBC pick up Kenny, Shaq, and bring in a new host? That show will not be the same if it's without Ernie Johnson. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that Inside the NBA show. Remember that show's been on the air with those guys with Charles has been around for at least 15 to 18, maybe 20 years. Kenny's been around 25 plus years with Ernie. But that show what will be the new iteration of that show be? Will be very interesting to see. Other basketball note: did you see Doug Gottlieb, the Fox Sports media personality, former ESPN, been with Fox Sports for several years, CBS? He has taken the head coaching job at University of Wisconsin Green Bay. That's not the only interesting part of this story. The other interesting part, he is going to retain and continue to work on his radio show for Fox Sports. So that will be a very interesting dynamic once the basketball season gets here. How will Doug handle on-air criticism, whether it's other college basketball coaches, college sports issues? How will Doug handle that, being that he's the head coach at Wisconsin or at Green Bay? How will that affect his ability to run a program at Green Bay? Him being on the air a couple days a week and all that. My feeling is that he'll probably be able to handle that and do that for the first year. But I think if he truly wants to be a basketball coach, I think he's going to have to give up. I think it's going to be hard for him to just to keep up with the demands of that radio show. Not that he can't do a radio show, but being a national radio show, being that you're going to have to give some strong opinions on some topics. I just have a feeling after a year of that, I think one way or the other, there probably would be a separation between Fox Sports and Doug to do that, so Doug can focus on. And if you're Doug Gottlieb and you want to truly be a head basketball coach, you probably need to be a head basketball coach. And I know the money is probably pretty good with Fox, and you're going to be giving up some money. But if you want to be a basketball coach, go be a basketball coach. It's going to be hard for you to do both of those things at the national level. If he was doing a local Green Bay radio show, that ain't the worst thing in the world. But if you're going to do a national sports show, you have to give opinions. You have to keep up with all the things not basketball related throughout the year. I just wonder how long he can do that, and his administration will allow him to do that. So we'll see how that works. But Doug Gottlieb, new head coach, Wisconsin Green Bay. All right. Any other things? All right, we're going to get to my chat with Steve Fedora, Senior Director, Community Impact, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to hear Steve talk about the Buccaneers' commitment and involvement with women's flag football, both in the state of Florida, here in the Tampa Bay area. The Buccaneers have been a champion for women's flag football, led by Darcy Glazer Kasowitz, one of the owners. She's been super involved with the development and the growth of flag football in the state of Florida. Tampa Bay has been a hotbed for girls flag football for many years. And now you will get to hear from Steve Fedora talking about the Buccaneers and them hosting the state flag football championships at their indoor training facility last weekend. So enjoy my conversation with Steve Fedora. Again, Powers on Sports Podcast. If you haven't already done so, subscribe, rate, and review. Love to hear your comments on Twitter at JPO Sports. Check out the Press Box Radio Show. I co-host that show on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. PressBoxRadio.com online, live and on demand, 8 to 10 a.m. We're on in about 20 stations around the Southeast. So check out PressBoxRadio.com for an affiliate near you if you are in those markets. And again, you can go to my YouTube channel, Jason Powers Sports Channel as well, and you can see the video content, the video interviews and such as well. So appreciate the support. Appreciate you finding us. Tell a friend. Do a nice thing for somebody. And remember, when the cops tell you to stop, stop. It's not going to kill you for another couple minutes. Stop. Follow their instructions. There'll be a lot more peace in the world if we do that, and a lot less angst and a lot less anger and a lot less all that. We're all going to get to where we got to be. If it takes us an extra couple minutes, it ain't the end of the world. So have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Memorial Day week coming next week. Happy graduates. I know a lot of the senior graduates are out of school now. So congratulations to those folks. And we'll see you next time on the Powers on Sports podcast. Enjoy our chat right after these messages with Steve Fedora.